Another question here, Brad, you might have some insights into this. We're seeing a rise in anger among employees as companies are promoting return to office and vaccine mandates, leading to distrust and fueling attrition. Any insights on how employers can mitigate that?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of thoughts. I think, we saw this in, JR's session around the candidate experience. I think John's session on turnover also raised this in terms of transparency and communication. I think we've seen companies back away from that, maybe because of the unpredictability. We don't want to put a message out there and have to reverse course kind of once it's floated. But I think employees are kind of sitting back really in this kind of vacuum of information, which I think is driving some of that distrust, ambiguity, and in some cases, anger as well. I saw a recent survey of employees that asked, to what extent has their company communicated what the future of work is going to look like in their organization? For a vast majority of them, their company hadn't communicated anything, right? So employees, I think, are looking for information. They want to reduce some of that ambiguity in a very kind of disruptive time. So I think, putting out there what you can, recognizing that it might be subject to change, but I think communicating as openly and transparently as possible. I think there's some other issues here. Colleague Susan Bogart and I did a session through CAHRS a couple of weeks ago on cultural fault lines, because I think we've seen a lot of divisions in our country, right, around politics, around race, and other social justice issues, around now vaccine, not vaccinated issues. And so, these are all kind of coming to the forefront as employees start coming back in the office, and are perhaps amplified because people have been kind of isolated and they've been kind of living in their own worlds, consuming the information that they're comfortable with through the channels that, maybe make sense to them, et cetera. So, what we have heard from companies is, really trying to have discussions around these things, kind of meeting employees where they are and having kind of open discussions, trying to kind of, bringing back in mediation and other skills that maybe are somewhat of a lost art. But I think, companies will have to continue to wrestle with some of these fault lines / employee activism, whatever you want to call it, here over the near and long term.
Yeah, I think that's a big one, interesting one to do some research in.